Recording in progress. All right, so we're just gonna start. It won't be as quite as we're kind of just working through some docs, so this won't be as directed and smooth as when Raiden's here. But we what we wanted to do is establish what we talked about last fall, Nick, which was getting. So as you were learning ZBrush, we were going to do these meetings each week and start designing the creatures and come up with their parts and what their parts might be used for in game and what the ecosystem and their evolutions were and then their attacks and all different animations and gameplay mechanics. So all of that stuff we're putting into now in like an official creature packet, just like with
Nice.
the character packet. So we'll have an official packet to design from. And
Hmm.
then we're going to follow the same process you started, which is take a real world set of creatures, do some um, reference boards, put together some good anatomy and reference and patterns of their colors and things, and then mash them together and then make them totally off the rails, surrealistic, kind of wacky creatures. So if we start off with a whip spider or a horseshoe crab or whatever giant underwater centipede, we're going to take that and try and mash a couple other creatures with it and make it more mushy.
Hmm.
And not everything needs to be fought. Is maybe we just dodge things and get around them, and so we're going to have kind of the little bit of a wildlife preservation kind of alchemist attitude from us, but we also want to take a few of the creatures and we're going to make them the corrupted ones from the evil Mayan god of earthquakes, the Sizin. So we're going to have some ones that you have to kill, you have to fight, and that are
Hmm.
like really deadly and super venomous and super wicked and evil looking. So we'll have some like naturalistic creatures that we want. Each time you see
Yeah.
them, you want them to maybe be a little bit identifiable, but we don't want them anything to look like, oh, that's a pigeon or that's a rat or that's
Hmm.
just a regular. We want to push everything. So we we're going to start off with your first sculpts that you went with, then we'll do push some design drawovers. We got Dusty here, and we'll go through the doc together. Maybe I'll let Dusty look at the doc. Hand it over to him and see what things we're going to fill. Not everything needs to be filled out right away, but we at least want to know what the things eat, where they live,
Right.
what's their kind of habitat, what
Hmm.
So
maybe
some sort of
yeah.
complete ecological picture that can, like a National Geographic
Yeah, are
camera.
they going to be coming up in the above you? Are they going to like near? Do they have webs? Do they fly, hover? If a hurdle hopper
Hmm.
can jump, does the thing jump 10, 15 feet or does it go, from
Hmm.
100 feet from the background and come towards camera and then land in the, that's a really good idea. Actually, I like that one. So having stuff come in and out of, so it is a 3D game still, right? Even though we're locked on our side scroll, but we definitely want things coming in and out from both the foreground and the background. So we can really play around a lot with that.
Hmm.
And then we're going to build, I want to get a skeleton built today. Actually, I'm just going to haul ass on it tonight and build an armature for Justin. And he's just going to start animating just the stop mo skeletons with the green screen. So we have some little sample tests of that. And that's going to be a lot of fun too.
Hmm.
So let's see. Do you
I
want to
got
look at
I
the
got a
doc
few
together, Dusty? Or go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
I got a few models on ZBrush right now, or just two at the moment.
You want to share and show us what you're working on?
Sure. So one was the hurdle hopper, and then the other was the scorpion.
Yeah, the heavy tank,
Yeah,
the heavy
with that
tank one with the giant tail.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
the
was
leaf.
that was freaking
Yeah.
crazy. Wow, like
Yeah. So I've been lately. I've been just mostly focusing on the archer and stuff. So I've gotten into the point where I'm almost ready to get it to Substance Painter. So I didn't work very much on either one of these characters or these critters and stuff. So that's the hurdle hopper, and then
Hurdle
this is the
hopper, yeah.
scorpion.
hmm.
So what do you want me to go over with these things? It's characteristics or it's like behaviors and stuff.
Yeah, I think we're going to hand it over to Dusty to brainstorm with you.
All right.
You're welcome to fire off as many things as pops in your head, but I think we'll just fill in some. Get what I was hoping we would do is we would take a look at a couple creatures. We could look at the archer too, Dusty, since we haven't started him
Yeah,
yet.
very much so.
And then, oh yeah, wait, you did. That's right. And then we go to the our labs and we come up with a little bit something here just for like 20, 30 minutes, and then we go back to the drawing board and then start designing based off some fresh information. and then we meet again later. That could be later tonight, or we could just pick a day next week that works for everybody's schedule and see what we
Mhm.
come up with. And then we do one more pass, and then we'll be done, and then we can start bringing them in some of the final models to paint, rig, animate, and get some critters in our when we do our game jam and actually build out the level. We'll have some pretty polished beasties to fight and dodge and maybe befriend. Maybe we have a friendly thing too that maybe does a follow me with a truffy creature too.
Yeah, Shroomies buddy. So the Queen Rises mushroom cows. Oh wait, we can't do mushroom cows. That one's taken. Actually,
Mushroom
that's
calves,
yeah, because cows. I was
like
thinking
little.
that's yeah, that's a whole the shroom cow is a whole
Oh,
big
from the
Minecraft thing.
oh yeah, from Minecraft, yeah.
Wait, I'm not from a
Uh,
shroom cow.
I believe that's what they're called. Yep.
Oh, from Minecraft.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
it's just a recolored like cow with like mushrooms that grow on top of them.
I have no problem stealing a little. I mean, by the time we're done with it, it will
True.
resemble nothing like the Minecraft one. So yeah,
Right.
I think if you want to do like a little cute, you could do like the cheese mites or like little cows, like yeah, they all kind of like have their butts in the air and they're like all. Have you ever seen what cheese mites look like? So anything like that, we take. Let's just mash another creature with it, and make it off the wall, and then I got that from the Neil Gaiman masterclasses. I'm almost done with the Neil Gaiman videos. He's so good. But he just takes two separate things, concurrent confluency calls it. Just take two opposing things and mush them together, which is kind of what we're doing with the chimeric forms as part of the creature. I want to have a whole creature design set of videos and curriculum from this where we take a few creatures and like, okay, what else does this ecosystem need? We need some little things that buzz around. We need some things that come, if you look under a log, if you're looking for an ingredient, what could pop out at you. If you're peeling the bark off of one of these big giant trees, is that where like I'm looking at these creatures, how do they camouflage themselves? And they'll kind of feed off each other. Like your armored guy here, I was already looking at the shells, like, oh yeah, well, those are obvious parts for some of the samurai, or the, what's the French ship, mushroom word again?
Yeah, that was actually something I wanted
Yeah.
to dive in on before we even got onto the creatures.
Yeah.
Talking about bringing the archer as well as Raiden's mushroom guy
Oh,
under
you
the general ranking of
want to do that
what I
first?
was calling the
Yeah.
champignons,
Champignon.
which
Yeah.
is which looks like the word champion and is French for mushroom. Um, so I think it makes a decent sense. And in my head, my thought is that Queen Riza and then other autonomous political units that have similar kingdoms or countries or whatever you want to call them, each have kind of their own champignon class, and those they send armies against each other. Uh, in a way where the stakes are much less lower than they are with like human war, because the forms that end up dying and littering the battlefields and whatnot aren't exactly the full consciousness. They're just like Mush is kind of collapses his body and goes through the travel system or whatever. Like getting shot down by arrows out in the field against another guy. Like, okay, then we go home and we have beers and we get dressed in a new body and we come back and do it tomorrow. So I wanted to make sure you didn't mind me kind of putting your guy under this broader system.
The archer to the barter
Yeah,
system.
yeah, it just happened to be like one of part of the Champignon system.
I feel like, well, I kind of identify the archer as like some kind of like not a rebellious person, but like as you can see, he has boots for like
Yeah,
he
yeah,
has
yeah.
wood for boots, so it kind of separates the roots from like his feet from connecting to the soil in a way.
Hmm.
And so
Oh, I get that.
yeah, so he kind of goes in a way rogue outside of the
Renegade from
kingdom.
the Great Mycelium. That's a great background. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
A rogue. So
Okay,
yeah, a rogue out in the like outside of the kingdom, and you run into him, and he helps you, and he like
nice.
guides you
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah, that
things,
could
and he
work
gives
really
his
well then.
point of views towards the kingdom or something like that. But I don't know.
Okay, that's perfect. I like that a lot actually. I
That's
can
it.
work with that. And then the champignons can just be go more towards the samurai look that Raiden's doing, and this could be more of a single one-off individual character. which
Mm.
I really love that idea.
Yeah, I
Especially the wearing shoes and like keeping himself cut off from the network that way. That's a real easy to see snap visual, and also like it's just a cool concept.
had you written that into your doc you did last semester, Nick? The boots thing?
Unfortunately, I did not. It
Okay,
kind
can
of it just
let's
mentally.
start there then. We could pull the doc up and do you have what you had submitted last semester so we make sure we share that with Dusty where you had your reference board and all that? I'm sorry, I'm redoing
It
all
was
my
all,
files.
it was just like two J. It's just like JPEGs of like
It's okay, whatever you had. Yeah, yeah.
um. You know,
That's all of our starting point for all these. We just need a few JPEGs, a few ideas, and start feeding. Because as
mhm,
you pull the stuff up and look at it, you might like the idea you just said, the boots and him being separate from them. I mean that there's so much story, like great, like I'm already like, yeah, what Dusty's going to come up with, and we can come up with it. That's a great NPC to meet in the wilds and get information from. That's going to be non-filtered from the uh, pollution happening from the Great Mycelium, right? So
mhm,
that you instantly get a whole string of dialogue possibilities, and we talked about foreground, background. This could be almost like a companion character at times where maybe he's in the background firing arrows and clearing the way for you,
mhm.
or maybe
Yeah.
he can pop in and out of the game. And I saw him as like a Robin Hood-ish almost type character, but I don't. But what you just
Mhm.
said,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Pretty
didn't
much.
get that yet, so that's perfect. Then if you share
Uh,
the doc you have, you might have a few other ideas that you had come up with that but we hadn't written down yet. We want to make sure we capture that now so we can start integrating
yeah.
the ideas you had into the
I could
story.
send in the. Yeah, I
Yeah,
could
yeah.
send in the docs of that.
Well, yeah, whatever
From
you
that.
find, if you could shoot that to Dusty, that'd be great.
Yeah. Do you want me to do that right now, or when we're taking the time
Yeah, whatever,
to
however you multitask, as long as yeah.
We
So
could do that. We can do that down the road for sure. But I did just take the character packet and cloned it, made a new one for the archer, and then just threw a line in about that shoes thing, which is all that's in the document so far. But
yeah,
I think that I really, really love that, and that's exactly the kind of, that's exactly what I was hoping to get diving into the meeting is like, okay, so I have these kind of ideas. Are there any even gooder ideas that you already had? Because I mean, I'm sitting here and coming up with thoughts and looking at the whole world, but like you've sat here locked in on this one specific model for, however long it's been, looking at all the little details. And as you're sitting there
uh,
adding this leg, sure, you're thinking things that I wouldn't think sitting there looking at the model for 2 minutes or whatever.
and
mhm,
he could be a deserter. He could be like former part of the Archer unit from the
Yeah.
Champignons. So that might
yeah.
even more make him more of a kind of renegade out in the wilds
Well,
character. That hey, watch out for such and we don't. Do we have a name for him yet?
I wonder if we shouldn't make him the rival.
Yeah, he could be, could be. I
Like he,
like
Who knows?
yeah,
Who knows? But
yeah.
probably along the road, that'd be pretty interesting. Yeah. Um. Fortunately, I've just named him Archer in a way,
Yeah, no, it's
but
okay.
uh,
That's
if we
what
can
we're here
find
for,
a,
man. Yeah, we're gonna get names
I,
for all your stuff today. Well, at least a
I
starting
mhm.
almost
point
named him
and
Archie.
brains.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Archie. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
almost put Archie on the dock.
If you guys got any good ideas for his name, I'm down. Like I'm open to like any answers to that stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Archer, something with like puss in boots, like mush in boots. Like we could have some fun with it. We could get campy and fun, but still have enough quirky surrealism where it's not too goofy. Like I think
Hmm.
we can
Yeah.
really play around with all these ideas. That's what I want to say. I want us to
Uh,
be
uh,
playful and coming up with brainstorming. Nothing needs to be locked in. Stuff will
right.
evolve and become great as we do a couple passes. It will be obvious. Oh, this is a great idea. When you have a group of people like our team look at stuff, they're going to go, "Oh, we like that," and it'll be a no-brainer. And that's usually like 95% accurate. When something's really good, it's obvious to everyone. Something maybe needs to be trimmed, it's obvious to everyone. So
Hmm.
let's throw lots of poo against the wall and see what sticks, or throw poo at my brother and see what sticks. That's more fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm a sticky guy in that regard. So I think I think that's words. Uh,
Words. Let's see. You did a new packet for Archer.
yeah, I just created it and then added one line about the shoes thing under physical
Okay. Cool.
characteristics.
So that's in our. I just dropped that together in our Discord chat as well, Nick. So it's there. If you look at the chat window
Uh,
from the art meeting, I just dropped the Archer character packet. So if you have anything you want to add to it, now is a good time. Like, is anything like the type of voice he might have, any iconic traits, any storytelling? If nothing pops to your mind right this second, that's cool. But you have access
oh,
to this, so
yeah.
any ideas you have are welcome to integrate. And whatever Dusty comes up with, everything's malleable. We want everyone to have some collaboration, especially for
And
characters you're making.
this isn't a blank, is it? Or is
This
this
one is
for
a
Archer?
this one
Or
is
do I need
just
to
for
copy this
Archer.
from them?
No, no, it
Okay.
has Archer's name in the title. Yeah, so this is official. He
Oh,
just
okay.
made this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're good.
All right.
So yeah.
Cool.
So Lizzie, his countenance, like you have like his attitude. He's got the boots on. I suppose he made the boots himself. So we want to start
Hmm.
talking about like what the parts. Dusty and I had talked about like incorporating some creature parts into some of his feathers and arrowheads. And I think Nick and you and I talked briefly last year about him
Yeah,
using different things he finds to make different
like
cool like heads
or
to his.
using elemental shrooms or some sort,
Yeah,
and like
any.
some of them they end up
Yeah,
just sticking, just
Yeah,
like yeah.
yeah. Did you have a few
absolutely.
specifics in mind already, like types? Of course, explosive or
I had kind
sticky
of
or string. There's some obvious ones, but you know,
so I had some kind of idea of like having him having one like large like branch arm in a way, and having some of those branches actually be the bow itself. And
yeah,
so like it would have like shavings for the palm for it to make room for him to shoot basically. But like apart from that, it would also have like all
that's
these
cool.
types of mushrooms that would be growing off of his shoulder. And so like he would use those in like important times. So he would take it,
Fuck
Yeah,
yeah,
he would
dude.
stick it onto another stick and then shoot it basically. Yeah. So
that'd
it'd
be cool.
be
Like
kind of like
you
a
can get like different like Hawkeye style like arrowheads, but they all
yeah.
come from like little nodules he pulls off
Oh
himself.
yeah,
That's dope as
Yeah.
hell.
Yeah.
yeah.
I was thinking about it, but it just might be too like strenuous on like how I would make the branches work and stuff.
Nah, don't worry about any of that right now. Like, just
Yeah.
be as creative as possible. I love having him put his arm out and having branches kind of fan out,
Yeah.
already strung up, where he just has like a built-in freaking giant hand crossbow and it can like telescope out and become a longbow or go shorter for tight quarters.
Mm-hmm.
Like and remember, morphology is one of our core three pillars of game design for this, right? So how all these things we make can morph and change for
Mm-hmm.
best use scenario for what they're doing is, I think that's really cool. I'm glad you reminded us of that one. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very
All
cool.
right.
I was yeah. I was also thinking of like if not like a bow arm or something like that, maybe like a slingshot some sort. He could
Hmm.
just save time instead of sticking
Wrist,
stick in
like a
a
real wrist rocket.
mushroom and then just like yeah, just shoot like elemental
Yeah,
rock
a
or
wrist
like
rocket made
rocks
out of
or
real wrists.
yeah. And then like or I was thinking of like a cool idea like having a little branch that has like a some kind of spider on it and he uses that webbing. He lets it live on his shoulder of some sort
Nice.
where the branch
Yes.
is, something like that. He would harvest that webbing, and then he would use it for the string and stuff.
That's fucking
But
Yeah,
cool.
and I
yeah,
love that as cementing the him as the rival too. Like if
mhm,
he has his little spider companion, just like Bush has Shroomy.
mhm, yeah. Oh
Nice.
man, like if the crafting gas, I was thinking of like I was also while I was doing making the character, I was also thinking of like what if there was a bad version of him, and so I was like kind of thinking of like a nightshade name, but like he would be more like I'm not sure if you guys know the pointy hat guy from Dark Souls 3, the one that has you would like run into this room where the bunch of these identical looking knights or some sort. And then he poses like a some kind of pose like this towards you, and then he fights. But like he would have that kind of like slim looking physique and stuff. Like he would have like some kind of he would be a lot longer, and he would have like skinnier looking branches of some sort, and have probably instead of like glowing green eyes, it'd probably be like red purplish or something like that. It'd be more point like his cap head would be like more pointy of some sort.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah,
But I'll
Is
try
it
and scope them up if
the
you guys are interested in that. Yeah.
okay? I'm trying to
Yeah, I
remember
can see a
which
bunch of
character you're
people go
talking
with
about.
that for sure. The archer?
Uh, it would be a bad
Or
It
like
would be like a an enemy version of Archer, basically.
yeah. Maybe he was like a warrior for one of the other kingdoms or whatever, and then they like took a sample of him and started cloning him like against his will, and he was like, "Fuck this, I'm leaving and fucking all your shit up too."
Hmm. Yeah. Or like he
Something along
was,
those lines.
yeah. Or if he was like exposed to that noxious gas or the poisonous gas or some sort, like he's been exposed to it for too long, and then he starts like changing in a way. So
Yeah.
like as you meet him through the whole time, he starts forgetting he starts forgetting things or like forgetting if he even knew you or something like that.
Okay.
Then you probably turn into that. But I don't know.
Oh, okay. I
It'd be
actually
nice.
really like that. Yeah, like a
Oh,
friendly,
transform.
a kind of
Oh.
friendly rival relationship up until that's kind of as you watch him degenerate, but you can't really do anything about it because he's on his own track of story. And then
Hmm.
finally, like he kind of loses it and transforms, and now all of a sudden you got to fight him as like
Yeah.
a mini boss or even a boss.
Mm.
Yeah, that'd be dope as hell. I
Okay.
love all of this.
Yep.
Beautiful. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I
All
think
right.
we've got some really great starts on him. So let's give a crack at a creature or two before we
All right.
retire. We got our Scorpioti right here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Scorpiote.
Scorpio. Oh, did
that's
I say Scorpiote? Like,
no, that's
uh,
it's from the Good Place. They have
oh,
a it's a joke about a high school that couldn't decide between a scorpion and a coyote for their mascot, so they called
oh,
themselves the Scorpiotes.
man. I named it like almost similar to it. It was like
Oh,
Scorpio, or it was like Scorpium, something like that.
oh yeah, yeah, I
Oh,
saw a scorpion. Nice.
Scorpium.
Yeah.
I like Scorpium.
Or
Yeah.
yeah. So you guys could see the character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
No,
right.
I think this is a lock for with what we've been talking about as the one trailer monster.
Uh huh.
Like we're gonna mock up as though we actually have a game, and have like
Have like a
8 seconds of
have a
pretend
husk in the back.
gameplay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well, it's just have this model, hopefully with enough rigging to make it look like it's got an animation sequence,
Hmm.
and then
Yeah.
Mush comes up and punches it, and bad things happen to it. And it's only like a few seconds of the trailer,
Yeah.
but it's enough to be like, no, we have a whole game. We promise. See, this is just a few seconds of it, but the whole game works
Uh,
for real.
yeah. Oh man.
And I really love this guy for it because I mean, it's nice and unambiguously horrifying and hostile looking. So
Yeah.
it works
So
really well. If you're only getting an 8 second glance, that says bad guy.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I would say like if we run through some of the initial questions on the sheet and see if anything pops out at you right away, Nick, that gets the ball rolling. If you've been thinking about these creatures, I'd like to take this guy if he's going to be in our trailer and maybe make him fairly severely corrupted. So maybe make him even more wicked and evil. Like give him the
That's why.
Cizin, give him
Yeah.
what's that?
Or give them what, like as in spikes or things like that, or
Um,
like some kind
yeah.
of like biological corruption to it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's one of using this design as a springboard into what does it look like, and things get more corrupt. Are they a little more greenish, like a little gassy? Are they kind of do they get more sunken, more sinewy, undead like? Like what what are some keywords? And we're just brand new on this, so like we can really
Hmm.
have a lot of pathways we could take. One of the things from the bad guys is they're the Mayan god of earthquakes and death is I'm looking at its pinchers. It'd be almost cool if it had like almost like tunneling type pinchers too, like something that could really like come up from underground. I'm seeing this
Hmm.
one as like coming up out of the like a little mini earthquake when this thing comes onto the screen. And
Hmm.
maybe instead of doing the three things on there, maybe do like a main center one that it uses to like Journey to the Center of the Earth. I don't know if you've ever seen that old movie. That was one of my favorite black and whites when I was a kid. It's basically a giant drill machine they used to drill to the center of the earth, right, and find this whole world down there. see.
Thinking, what if they come together and then start drilling? Like the three, it stays with the three, but they just kind of
Oh, nice. Yeah,
get
yeah.
to a point, and then that can spin.
Hmm. Hmm.
Beautiful.
Do we
Yeah. So
want?
yeah,
Do
I
we
want
want
to
to
play
try?
with. Yeah.
Do we want to try and like mess around with like physics to it? Like how far can the wrist like turn and stuff? Or like how many degrees it can keep going before it
Yeah,
reaches its end?
definitely.
Here's the old
Yeah.
Jules Verne Journey to the Center of the Earth drill bit piece.
Huh.
Yeah, yeah. Let's play with that. Let's play with the. So we also want to break our creatures into like discernible parts as we design them. So like the thorax and head, the legs, the tail, the pinch. So we want to define what parts, and then we'll push them a little bit, and we'll help you, Nick, on the design team with the 2D. We'll do some little draw over suggestions, and you'll sculpt it, and then we'll go through, and then we'll finally get to do those like polishing ZBrush parts. So I would say keep the legs as separate pieces. If you know, have you learned to use the subtool yet?
Um. Yes, I did.
A
So
subtool and mirror,
I'll
yeah,
just
yeah. So we could do
yeah.
like the
I'll
legs
just
as
have
separate
to.
pieces, so that way you might get kind of crammed in there if you're pulling off the same model. Sorry, Dusty,
All
it's a
right.
little technical,
So
but yeah, yeah, we'll
as
look
for
Oh no,
the
into
no
that.
problem. I'm
Yep.
taking a break.
as for the arms, do you want me to separate that too?
Yeah, I think you could start like you could take this design and we'll start breaking it up into manageable pieces. And the more modular it is, the better. And like what pieces of this could be used as equipment or Monster Hunter ish like ingredients. You know, like the venom from the stinger or the drill ends for the claws could be spear tips or weapon
Mhm.
tips or it's
Armor out of the carapace is a dunker too, like this one.
yeah, yeah, it's got really cool armoring that you started on already.
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah.
want to do some good reference on some different scorpion types, and then what other creatures can we incorporate with the scorpion. So definitely some of the crustaceans, like some aquatic and deep sea
Probably one of those
creatures
prehistoric ones.
and prehistoric
There was a
stuff.
point you
Yeah.
were making earlier, Chris, that I think is really good. That works just as well for a scorpion as any other arachnid. You were talking about spiders, whereas they don't have a clearly defined head in the way that we normally think of, where it's more put into the body. So that might be a good way of like causing it to feel even freakier and more alien, as if it had like a more like mammalian separated head kind of deal. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good thing to
that's just
remember.
like
Oh,
one good idea, something to incorporate in.
Hmm.
And
yeah,
if
the more it has a fit. If you think of like the big evil spider from Lord of the Rings, or I just watched this movie last night called Sting. It's this really goofy, like this girl gets this little alien spider and it grows this. Sorry, spoilers. It's not a simple spider, but when you finally do the big monster reveal, yeah, it almost has like a human like face, like yeah, it's a little John, and it's just like and you see those spiders with patterns on their or exoskeletal creatures with it almost looks like skulls. And you see like a skull pattern that's painted on there, and then we'll do color passes too on this. We'll do some paint overs, and then we'll do some ZBrush paints as well. So yeah, maybe some necks and heads would be fun, and any other face parts that you think would be creepy to add to the typical spider scorpion head. Like what other pieces? If maybe if it had like long ears or a weird antenna that had like little spikes on them, and instead of like little soft feathery feelers. Maybe it's got like, and that's what I kind of did when I mashed together the painting I did last night. As I mashed together your scorpion with the whip spider with
Yeah.
I forget what else I had up on my screen, but it was fun though because then on the whips of the antenna I had little spiky like little barbs. So when it whipped around, it would actually catch whatever and kind of like a lure and pull it towards it, right? And then I
Yeah.
made its legs even more heavily armored, and then I tried to give its face a little bit more of like a skull shape to it. So playing with all those kinds of things would be fun. And how big? I guess that other thing is the size comparison. Like, how big is this thing compared to Mush, the character? Like, is it the size of a
I'd
horse?
say
Is it the?
um it would depend if we were ever going to introduce a like a hypnotic spell, or no, not a spell, but hypnotic fungus of some sort for that would have Mush be able to befriend these bugs.
Mm,
and have him fight for him
Hmm.
in a way. But I thought of an idea that we should hold off on the that kind of ability if this does happen to blow up and stuff. And so if we do manage to do a DLC like
Oh,
in the coming days, I actually had an idea of a cool DLC story, which would lead to having a new biome and new types of mushroom characters. So
mm.
like having said so, like like a good summary is Mush runs into like a new civil like a mushroom civilization, but it's not like your average one. So that's why I came up with the idea of like some kind of centaur looking the fungus that mind controls bugs into doing things and stuff. Then
Yeah, yeah.
once they're like deceased, then this like mushroom grows out of their heads and stuff.
Okay, so it's like
So
partially a centaur, but it's like built on the actual
yeah,
like living creature,
yeah.
and
So like
it's a mushroom that like grows up out of the
out of
body.
the
That's dope as shit.
insect, yeah. And
So
so
it's like a
it'd be able
parasitic
to
thing or symbiote.
yeah
Exactly.
yeah
Yeah.
as if it like the like as an NPC it would like you could see it like drag the body along. Like it's not as
Yeah.
lively as usual or something like that. So it would like drag like legs and stuff all across the like floor and stuff. But
I
I had
mean,
a
we
cool
could
idea
use
for
that
it.
for the main mechanic
Yeah,
for the
we're
bad
still
guys
kind
right
of
now.
looking
Like
as we're
if
thinking of
yeah,
like various the other mushroom kingdoms and how they're shaped and how they're going to interact. We kind of have it set where it's like, and then there's like three or four others that we haven't figured out yet, but we will.
yeah,
Hmm.
And that could very easily slot into that. That is dope as
yeah.
hell.
You
And
think
like
that
very, I love how based it is in the science too of like how fungus
Yeah,
works, which is something that's really important as we're writing. That yeah, I'm really trying to marry it to,
yeah,
and that yeah, because like there's those beetles and everything, like you say,
yeah.
where they get infected
All
with the
the time.
fungus, and then yeah, well, it's kind of like what the cordyceps is based on
it's
the Last of Us.
cordyceps. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is what
So
what you call it, Jake, Una, and Dorothy's project they did last year. They had cordyceps was one of the main things. It's a thing for sure, and I can see that as like not only is a thing getting corrupted and the fight and oh and the battle's over and then all of a sudden oh no these things come back worse with like the things reanimate with a new underground life form wicked fungus that no one's seen before and now all of a sudden and the more we can kit bash and bring things together, I think that works out really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, so it'd be a good idea to introduce different characters, all shapes and sizes, and like depending on what kind of creatures they are, too. So that'd be really interesting, and a new like like that would be a good like great way to introduce the ability and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
so going forth on for the Scorpion character, I would want this thing to be rideable in a way. Not too. I don't want to make it too big or too small. So so for this scorpion in particular, uh, if there were to be multiple like kinds and stuff, ones that could drill through, ones that could shoot these ones as this one is. So for this idea for this scorpion, at the ends of the hands and stuff, you could see the pointy stuff like that. So that would be the its stinger and stuff. And so, but at the little bulgy part, that would be like some kind of explosive capsule that would shoot out from the hand.
Those are
Because
little rockets. Yeah, right.
seeing as this thing can't move very fast, or like it would take a lot of energy out of it to like try and chase its prey in some sort. So for this one, it would shoot those thorns out of its hands, and so and if it were to be like overwhelmed, it would huddle like close together, and then it would drop its tail down. And as you can see, I made it look like as if it was a plow. So it would like basically have the tail covering its whole body, and then it would charge for like a short distance, and then like if it's close enough to you, then like it would make its final move as to like lean forward and then like press through with the thorn on the tail.
Yeah,
Nice. All
Yeah.
right.
loving it.
Cool. I thought I remember you saying those things could fire off the pinchers. Now I remember you mentioning
Yeah.
that. Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
In fact, we gotta have this is already in the dock, right? Yeah.
Maybe for this design, Nick, to make this a little different from the spider or scorpion, I would think, and so that it can move and animate and a little heavier. Maybe give it like shorter, stubbier, like really strong little legs underneath, and not some of the bigger because we're kind of covering the
Yeah.
spider realm with longer legs just to change it up a little bit. Let's do some
Hmm.
smaller little studies so it kind of like it barely gets off the ground and kind of goes around, and that'll also make it better for tunneling. Whereas
Hmm.
it's kind of has like less friction to go, and then as it's burrowing through and pops up, then it can kind of come free. And we could, I think, having those alternate attacks you mentioned and stuff. That's exactly what we're looking for in the little creature packet. So we can say whether it's, how does it spawn? Some of the other questions like what is a
Hmm.
makes it alert? What is its follow AI? Like what is it? What are its basics? Is it mostly sight based? Is it smell? Does it hear? Does it sense vibrations? Does it have eyes at all? We could get really creepy with it and just have like this, like the alien. I'm a big fan of the guy, Geiger's aliens from the movies where they don't have eyes, right? They just have these. They can just kind of sense, right, when they come out. And so maybe if you're okay with making this a more of a burrowing coming out of the ground creature, maybe we don't have eyes on this thing at all. Maybe it's got these really cool little vibrational sensors, and the only way and when you fight this thing, you want to be like up off the ground when you're fighting. You got to like make sure you're clinging to stuff that's not whatever surface it's touching. Otherwise, those are kind of typical vibratory sensory. So I think as we develop each creature, if we have a little bit different sense or different approach of
Hmm.
things, things that are like lighter, more airborne, things that are heavier, things that are more crawly that go around. So if this thing's so heavy, I'm seeing is if you make it the burrowing kind of the one of the main
Hmm.
evil
Yeah.
villainous creatures you fight. I think that would be real. And I like the firing thing. It almost and I dropped a little burrowing tool from Jules Verne's Journey Center of the Earth. Like, what if we cybered this a little bit, like with the mycozoids as well? What if this thing had some nanobot or some kind of other? Do you want to keep this purely organic as the first one? Like it's from nature that's been corrupted.
As long as there's a story as to why it has it, I'm totally fine with it.
Okay, all right. I'm
I
just
think we
throwing
could
up.
have the natural version and then like the cybered up version as well.
Like
Is
let's say
another
that they have
possibility,
like or like let's say they have some strays that they use for war of some sort. And
right?
so it just roams off into like outside of the kingdoms and stuff, and so they just never been recalled or anything like that. So
All right.
yeah. And we can give it like we can have a story for these things as to they were notorious for like combat and stuff. They were used
Right.
by so and so kingdoms and stuff for them to take like places and stuff, take over things like that.
Okay. Sweet. And then if you want to do a pass on finding some fun color patterns in nature, so I was doing search. I'll share a pure ref file with you. Like I was looking at all the colorful patterns on like shrimp and bugs and wings and moths and spiders and you name it. There's really fun patterning we could play with when we do a color pass to finish this. So if you want to take a first crack on that and say, "Oh, I like this one. Like some of the color patterns I envision." Probably more earth tones with this one, but you can still go crazy with the colors because the grounds and minerals that we're presenting in this world could be as out there and exotic as we want them to be. So maybe take a first pass on some reference on some natural color patterns that you like. I would look at
Mm.
some rocks too. Maybe look at some different stone patterns
Oh yeah.
and along with the animal or whatever bug patterns you like.
All right.
And then we'll see how it camouflages. Then we'll build some plants. So like we want the animals to match their environment. So we're gonna like do some push pull. I'm gonna come up with some fresh plant designs and fungal like some of the more organic natural things growing. And then that's a cool one on your ZBrush
Yeah, that kind of looks cool.
background. Because yeah, some of the materials and colors we could grab straight out of ZBrush and into Substance or just doing that's going to be fun. And I owe you some links for classes too, so I didn't forget about you, Dick. If you still wanted to sign up, I'll get you the links,
Uh,
and then
uh,
I'll cover the tuition
honestly,
for you if you're yeah.
they had a deal for just like the for Substance Painter, some other two other like apps, some sort. But it was like $20 just so I can get access to the Substance Painter.
Okay. Well,
So
you should have free access with the EDU, but you're talking about just getting it for 20 and not worrying about tuition. Okay.
yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Cool. I guess we could talk about that offline. But any other? Do you want to look at the docs any more closely, Dusty, before we go and start making like some first design passes on some stuff? Do you want to look at the hurdle hopper real quick? As our little benign Gumby? Do we have time
yeah.
for a second one, or do we have enough to go with the archer and the armored
Yeah,
scorpion?
let's. Uh, where's the? I remember there was a version of this with spikes in the Discord. Am I wrong? The
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
spiders.
Yeah, there was. So the mentality for that was if we were going to create a like that was going to be with depending if we were going to have a difficulty or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
or
Okay.
later on we would introduce these remodeled versions which would have
Right.
spikes, thus
Very cool.
indicating that it's going to be a harder stage that you're dealing with.
Right.
So like the one with spikes would be a lot faster at moving or
Mm-hmm.
but and they would do more damage and stuff. So
Nice.
it was it was a visual for like any players like playing saying, "Oh, okay, this is a tough level that we're dealing with."
Right. No,
So
I love that. That's
We
great.
could
so
do we could do
that's
variants on all these for sure too.
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah. So but for this one it's just that would practically be the starter bug that you would run into. And so it would be just I wouldn't want to make him too simple and stuff. But he's practically basically meant to. It has a super hard shell that's meant to like throw itself against anything hard or anything that's alive in order to like knock it unconscious, and then basically it'll keep doing that until there's mush basically for it to eat out of and stuff. So yeah, they sleep they. Well, for its nature, it's supposed to curl up into a like pellet of some sort as its way of sleeping.
Nice.
And
I
so
love
when
it.
it's disturbed, it'll deploy out with the like it has like grooves that where it would fit the legs and stuff. And so it would like
Oh, I
come
can
out
see those
and
now.
then yeah,
Oh, so
and
it
so it would lock
collapses into those little grooves above the legs.
yeah. And so
Ah, okay.
so when I was thinking like a few move sets as into like a little short hop to if the player was close, but like if they were far back, it would be a lot more discipline, or like it would be a lot more punishable to the player. If they were too far, then it would wind up its legs. You could hear it like the tension and stuff as it's like pulling back, and it would launch it like it would fling itself across the screen. If
Like cranking up
Right.
yeah, yeah, and then like if it were to hit the person, it would be a lot like it would take on a lot of damage. But if it were to miss, then it would basically if it were to hit something like a wall, then it would be a lot more like exposed or vulnerable and stuff.
Yeah,
So it would like
there may even be some places where, like, I'm visualizing from what you're saying, like places where you want to bait it into hitting a
yeah.
specific wall and breaking open a secret door or path or
No,
whatever kind of deal,
Oh
cracking open
yeah,
a rock.
that'd be a good idea.
absolutely. Very cool.
Yeah.
And a hurdle hopper you have is like the size of a like coyote or something, or pig, or
I did
large
I think I
dog,
have a
small cat,
picture.
or what kind of scaling were you thinking of initially on this critter?
I had a photo.
Like, I
I
mean,
think
if
it's
even if
Artem.
it's the size of like, yeah,
Yeah. You look at the Artem visuals. Right below or right above the three. Or you could hang on. Here, let me.
scroll up a ways.
Can
Yeah, I do remember
Can I
seeing that.
forward this?
There it is.
You can see it with Archer and then the little bug, the green bug.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the one.
I was thinking that kind of size or maybe larger.
That one, right?
Yeah. Let me see.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
that
that's
popped
it.
up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, that's the one. So
Yeah, that's what looks like.
that was yeah, that was you can see in the background that's your engine right now. So
Oh, that's right.
if
You
that's the
okay?
scale,
Yep. Thanks for the reminder. That's okay.
Yeah, so like
Cool.
medium dog.
yeah,
Yep.
if that's the
Perfect.
scaling that we're going for,
Cool.
yeah, I should have see if I could have gotten the player character in so that way it would have a scale to it. But
Any since it's our Goomba, like maybe
yeah,
also like what are some of the possible parts of this critter that would be immediately like some of your regular game effects that maybe not to the new story, but something that already Mush has encountered these things and he's harvested like their eggs or their whatever,
oh, like
their shell.
craftable
Like, is
parts.
there a piece of this? Yeah. Do you have any initial ideas of what parts of this critter might be part of the game mechanics or backstory or ingredients or wearable costume items you see?
An idea probably would be either like because the shell isn't big enough for it to fit over his head, or maybe it could like saying
Little helmets.
like if it was a helmet, depending if Mush had his cap on. So like nah, no, I don't think it's a good idea.
Okay. Well,
Probably maybe some I don't know some kind of type of armor, some sort in a way,
yeah.
or
So
like
that hard.
let's
Yeah.
say yeah, or you can use it as like some kind of boxing glove or some sort. I don't know, or a throw like
Oh, there we go.
a throwable, or some kind
Yeah,
of or some like let's say if it's you could probably have
sugar
it like
bottles.
go off like a mine of some sort, like have it like if it was dead, you were able to manipulate it into like locking its legs back, and if some enemy were to run into it, then it would actually like
Kick
launch.
off.
Yeah.
No, because they're so ubiquitous, and it's gonna be working with the alchemy. How about potion bottles?
Mm.
Like
So
it
they could be
like
like squished together, and that's what you have to have one to like pour a poultice into and cook.
oh yeah, that'd be actually pretty cool. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that would
Germain
actually
alchemy. Yeah, there you go. So that instantly makes some of the alchemy lab equipment more interesting. Of having these as those
Yeah,
fail safe stir containers that you know aren't going to shatter or break no matter what kind of concoction you're brewing up in
yeah,
there. Yeah.
yeah, that'd
And
be
I like
good.
having the leg kickers as little trigger traps too, where okay, you can bait the live ones is cool, but you can also set maybe like a little set it down, have
Yeah,
it like
yeah,
poof, have it do a
yeah,
kick or a trip or a knockback on a someone that's coming after you.
yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Sweet. So yeah, so this one says same thing. We could play a little bit with each of the parts. So we have the thorax, the head, the abdomen, shell, legs, little claws. If you do any research on the detail on the end claws of most insects, Nick, you'll find like a
Mhm.
really crazy detail in that you normally don't see or notice. So if you want to look at the end pieces on any of your critters you're making, once I did a deep dive on spider, the tips of their legs, I was like, whoa, with some crazy
Mhm.
shit in there. Like
the hooks
it's
and
kind of my
hairs and everything.
Yeah,
man. They're like spiky, hairy little digit. I mean, it's crazy how many little digits are hidden to the regular naked eye. And then same thing on the face. I think I'm envisioning this like the way you design it so far. If we were talking about the look and feel, like it's almost cute. It's a little cuter. So it's like a
yeah,
little like maybe a Truffy likes playing with these things because he's so doughy and bouncy.
Mhm.
Like they just kind of bounce off of him, and he just kind of ha. He kind of just like they play
like
almost
if there
like
were younger
playful.
ones, like if
Yeah,
there was younger ones, it would just like bump into you or something like that.
yeah, that'd be cute. That'd be super cute. And they just kind of roll, and you just kind of like kind of brush them
Yeah.
off a little bit. Yeah, that'd be super cool.
Hmm.
So little stuff like that adds a lot of flavor as the game's playing. Little surprise moments that those like make things memorable and give a little comic relief in between. So I'm not envisioning this. I don't want like I was telling Dusty, I don't want this game to be so hard I can't play my old ass man
Oh,
hand. So I want it to be a little
yeah.
bit of an easier game that you can actually get through without like like
Mhm.
Dark Souls type combat where if you're not peaked out the top of your game, you're stuck and you never get to see the rest of the game.
Hmm.
Want to make the game approachable. So yeah, it'd be fun. So yeah, maybe some fun faces variants. So you guys break the head out. So break them into parts. Name the parts that you would
Okay.
envision for this, and then we'll do some speed sculpts together here this coming week if you're free. I'm still off from classes officially starting, so if you want
All
to
right.
do an evening after, if you have energy after work, just give me a holler. You could do it impromptu as
Yeah,
well.
for
You just
sure.
say, "Hey, I'm free. I'm up to sculpt for an hour or two," and then it'd be fun to 3D print these pieces. I can run. You've got some skills with the setting up the screws and things that you did with your
Hmm.
items. So what I'd like to do is hollow these out with core them out the right way so we could slide the aluminum wire armature rods through them, and then we'd have fully animatable. All of our
Hmm.
critters would be really easy to make stop motion if we're printing them up on the resin printer and hollow them out right. We could throw the armature and have them look really good and do some paint, do some finishing paint techniques on them.
Hmm.
Yeah. Something to think about as you're building these. Well, there's a bunch of 3D printing tutorials for ZBrush and a bunch of plugins for 3D printing to make like keys and so they join together nicely.
Hmm.
Cool. Anything else, Dusty?
I think I'm pretty set.
Yeah.
I really love. I think we got some really great stuff, and especially the hurdle hopper potion bottles. I think it's gonna end up being like a humongous part of the game, and really have some knock-on effects like that. That brilliant idea, I think, will spawn 20 more.
Yeah, let's make a bunch of
So
variants of
oh,
this. Let's say this is a species, like almost like dogs. Like they come in all shapes and sizes. So we can make a couple of these and they can share the same rig and animations, and we can have lots of fun with sockets and have like little. Maybe some of them have little sad like beetle wings that kind of open, but they don't quite fly. But yeah, and maybe some of them are. Maybe some are like bowling ball, like little heavy versions with like little tiny legs where they kind of hop, but just enough to get themselves rolling downhill. Maybe they drop on people rather
Oh, that would be
than
cool,
we could just goof it up with these guys. That'd be fun.
yeah.
So we got our super malicious, like, oh shit, this thing's and he's got to do a super punch like right between the eyes or something for the trailer, and then these little guys will be as we're going through the game. We'll have a. They should make a little fun sound too when they leap at you, like and then some sort of yeah. There you go. Yeah,
Oh,
and that'll be great for Steven. He can like get us some really cool sounds based off the concepts for that.
yeah. All right.
Cool, cool. I'm ready. So, all right, I'm gonna pull up the 2D stuff and then get some see if I can record a few things since I got my recording setup going. And whenever you guys are ready to think we have something to come back to the table with, whether it's writing or sculpting or whatever, and I'll post the 2D stuff. We can meet up again whenever. We can make it quick and simple, just to like touch base. If you want to like
And so,
make sure.
in summary, before we log off to go do that, so do we want to start making new characters, or do we want to try and add more to these, like story and things like that?
Um,
Just to
do
summarize.
yeah, I think we want to refine as soon as we've refined what the stuff we started currently. As soon as those are refined, we'll start making new characters. If you come up with new characters, feel free to open a doc and write it down and capture the idea so it doesn't come and go or morph. So
Mm.
yeah, you're welcome to jot down as many fresh ideas as you want, Nick. Definitely.
All right.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'd say we'll focus on refining, but if a
yeah,
wild hair bites you in the ass, by no means let it take you where it takes you for sure.
All right. Okay.
yeah. We want a nice, fun ecosystem cast of characters. I think everything in the world can have some character to it. So it could be plants, critters, more mushroom creatures, plant creatures, whatever.
All
Yeah, go
right.
for it. Right on. All right, I'll stop.